We continue now at the top of Daf Samacham and Beis Mesechet Sanhedrin. This is Sanhedrin Daf 60b. The Mishnah says, Ha'oved avodas kochavim. If somebody worships avodah zara, echad ha'oved, whether a person serves the avodah zara, ve'echad ha'mezabeach, or whether a person slaughters, sacrifices towards the avodah zara, ve'echad ha'mekater, if the person burns for the avodah zara, ve'echad ha'menasech, or pours libations for the avodah zara, ve'echad ha'mishtachev, or if somebody bows to the avodah zara, ve'echad ha'mekavlo olav la'lo, if somebody accepts the avodah zara, the idol, as his God, v'ha'omer lo, someone says to the avodah zara, Eliata, you are my God. All of those situations carry the death penalty. Aval ha'megafef v'ha'menashek v'ha'mechabed v'ha'merabetz v'ha'merachetz v'ha'soch v'ha'malbish v'ha'manil. But if somebody hugs or kisses, or somebody cleans, somebody sprinkles, somebody washes, somebody anoints with oil, somebody puts clothing on the idol, somebody puts shoes on the idol, in all of those cases there's no death penalty, but over below saseh it's just a transgression of a negative commandment. And the Mishnah continues, hanoder bishmo, let's say a person makes an oath in the name of the idol, Kayim bishmo, where somebody maintains something in the name of the idol, also in the form of an oath. Over below saseh, in those situations, the person would transgress a lo saseh. Rashi explains, hanoder bishmo would be belashon neder. That's just using a language of neder. The language of neder would be konim olai kol peiro sheba'olam b'shem avodas kol chavim plonis imerchatz. This is like a neder. The person is taking some kind of neder with regards to fruits or something in the name of the avodah zara. V'hamekayim bishmo, that refers to what's called a shvua. That refers to also a different kind of an oath, which is called a shvua. And so in those cases, again, over below saseh, there's a transgression of a negative commandment, which Rashi says, over below saseh, v'shem Elohim acherim lo saskiru. Don't mention the names of other gods. And finally, the Mishnah says, "Hapoer atzmo leval poor." If somebody defecates in front of Baal Poor, zuhi avodasa. That's the way of worshiping Baal Poor. And hazorek even lemarkulis. If somebody throws stones to Markulis, so zuhi avodasa. That's the way of worshiping Markulis. And therefore, if you serve them in the way they're meant to be served, that carries the death penalty. And the Gemara says, "My echad ha'ovid." What does it mean? Somebody who serves. They're all of these are considered serving the avodah zara. And the Gemara says, "Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah says, Hachi Kamer." This is what it's saying: Echad ha'ovid kedarka. If you serve the avodah zara in the normal way it's supposed to be served, ve'echad ha'mezabeach, ve'echad ha'mekater, ve'echad ha'menasech, ve'echad ha'mishtachave. And then also, if somebody does these various kinds of services, even va'afilo shelo kedarka, even if that's not the normal fashion, if you're going to slaughter an animal to the avodah zara, or burn the innards of the animal for the avodah zara, or libations, or bow, even if that's not the normal way of worshiping that particular idol, still that's going to carry the death penalty. And the Gemara says, "V'lichshov nami zorik." Well, why not also count zorik, which is the sprinkling of blood? Amar Abaya says, "Zorik haina menasech." Zorik is really included in menasech, which is libations. T'chsiv, as it's written in the pasuk, "Kol asech nischayim midam." It uses that word nesech when it's referring to blood. There's a pasuk in Tehillim, "Bal asech nischayim midam," and so therefore you see that the term nesach can refer to the sprinkling of blood as well. And the Gemara continues, Menahani Mili, from where do we know this, that if you worship in these fashions, even if it's not the normal way of worshiping this avodah zara, that carries the death penalty? The Tanu Rabbanan, because the rabbis taught, Ilu Nemar Zoveach Yocharam, if it said Zoveach Yocharam, Hayisi Yomer Bezoveach Kotshim Bachutz HaKos Medaber. I might have thought that pasuk, this is a pasuk in Shemos, Sefer Shemos, I might have thought that that's talking about a situation of having Kotshim Karbonos and sacrificing them outside the Beis HaMikdash. That's what HaKos Medaber, that's what I might have thought the pasuk is talking about. Talmud Lomar, the pasuk says, it says Zoveach lo Elohim. It says that a person is going to sacrifice lo Elohim. Bezoveach la'avodas kochavim hakos medaber. It's talking about Zoveach la'avodas kochavim. It's talking about sacrificing to avodah zara, and that's carrying the death penalty. Ein li ela bezoveach. Now I only know that's by sacrificing the animal. Mekater, burning, umenasech, and libations. Meinayin, from where do we know that? Talmud Lomar, bilti la'Hashem levado. It says in the pasuk, bilti la'Hashem levado, only for Hashem. And we learn as follows: Rikein ho'avodos kulam l'shem hamiyuchad. The pasuk empties out; it designates all of the avodos that you do in the Beis Hamikdash that should be only for Hashem, only for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And if they're done for avodah zara, meaning not only zoveach but mekater, menasech, all of these things that are done in the Beis Hamikdash, if they are done for the avodah zara, that carries the death penalty. And the Brisa continues, L'fi sheyatza zvicha lidon ba'avodos penim minayin l'rabos ishtachava. But now that we have zvicha, we have sacrificing, and that's something that's done in the Beis Hamikdash, how do we know to include something like like bowing, which is not an avoda in the Beis Hamikdash. That's learned from a different pasuk. The pasuk says in Sefer Devarim, Talmud Lomer, the pasuk says, Vayelech vayavod elohim acherim vayishtachu lohem. It says bowing down, talking about avoda zara. V'samach lein, it says near that, v'otzeisas v'ishahu v'gomer. It says you're going to take out that person. It says uskaltem ba'avonim, that you're going to stone them. And so therefore we see that hishtachavo, bowing, is also included. And the Gemara says, Ona shamanu. Well, from that pasuk we see a punishment. But as haraminayin, where do we see a warning against bowing? Talmud Lomer, the pasuk says, Ki lo sishtachav le'elacher, you can't bow to any other god. Yachol shani marba hamegafe v'hamenashek v'hamanil. Now I might think that we should include things like hugging and kissing and putting shoes on the idol. Talmud Lomer zoveach. The pasuk says zoveach. Zevicha b'chlal haisa. Zevicha, sacrificing, is a general. V'lama yotza, and why is it being excluded as a particular? It's in a general category. Lahakesh elev v'lomer lach. It's to make a comparison and say that it's things that are similar to zvicha. Ma zvicha miyuchedes she'avodas panim. Just like zvicha is unique, it's something that's done in the Beis Hamikdash v'chayaven ala misa, and there's a death penalty. Af kol she'avodas panim. So to anything that's done in the Beis Hamikdash v'chayaven ala misa, and it carries a death penalty. Yatsa hishtachava lidon ba'atzma. And so what we're really saying is that bowing is singled out because that is by itself. That's the only one, and there's nothing similar to bowing. Bowing is something that you're going to get the death penalty for, even though it's not the normal way to worship that avodah zarah. And yatsa zvicha lidon ala klal kulo. And then zvicha, when it comes to sacrificing an animal, that's just giving a general rule that anything done in the Beis Hamikdash carries the death penalty if it's done for avodah zarah. And the Gemara continues, Amar Mar, the master said, Hayisi Omer, I would have said, Bezoveach kachim bechutz hakasa medaber. I would have thought that when it says zoveach, it says Yacharam, let's say it didn't say Zoveach Lelohim, so I would have thought we're talking about sacrificing Kachim, Karbonos outside the Beis HaMikdash. The Gemara says, how could I think that? Zoveach Kachim Bechutz Karesu. If somebody sacrifices Kachim outside the Beis HaMikdash, the punishment is not the death penalty, which is what that pasuk is referring to. The punishment is Kare, so how could I even think that? And the Gemara says, one might have thought, Ki Asru Bei Ketola, Ki Lo Asru Bei Kares. If he's warned, then it's a death penalty. And if there's no warning, it's Kares. And maybe the pasuk therefore is talking about Kachim Bechutz. Kamash Malan. So again, the pasuk says no. We're talking about serving avodah zara. And the Gemara continues, Amarle Rava bar Rav Chanan li Abaya. Rava bar Rav Chanan said to Abaya, Eimo yotza hishtachavo l'lamed ala klal kulo. Maybe I should say that bowing is teaching us a general rule that anything similar to bowing. Why do I say that bowing is only bowing? And then when it comes to sacrificing animals, anything similar to that. V'chitem, if you're going to say zoveach lamali, that why does it say zoveach? Legufe demechashmin me'avoda li'avoda. Maybe that's needed for sacrificing itself, to say a chiddush, to say an idea that even if you're thinking from one avoda to the next, the idea would be, let's say you sacrifice the animal, now you're not sacrificing the animal to the avodah zara, but for the next step, you're going to sacrifice the animal in order that, let's say, you're going to burn some parts of the animal for avodah zara. Maybe that's what Zavicha is teaching, and again, maybe Hishtachava is teaching a general rule. As the Gemara continues, the Itmar, it was stated, Hashochet behemo lizrok damal avodas kochavim. Let's say a person slaughters an animal in order to sprinkle the blood to avodah zara, or lahakter chalba, in order to burn the fats lavodas kochavim to avodah zara. Rabbi Yochanan says, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video, on Daf Samech Aleph Amud Aleph.